This is the story of one of the most evil serial killers in history. This monster managed to evade police for 10 years because he was smarter than them. But how did he do it? Let's find out. It all started back in 1984 when two young women were found dead in their apartment. The police investigation revealed that both of them had been strangled. However, there was no sign of a forced entry and nothing was stolen. So, who could have done such a thing? And why did they kill these women? The police had more questions than answers, but they were sure that the same killer was behind both murders. They just didn't know it at the time. In the meantime, the killer would strike again and again and again. Over the next 10 years, he would claim the lives of at least 13 women. All of them were strangled to death, but the killer never left any evidence behind. It was almost as if he was a ghost. That is why the police failed to catch him. But how did this serial killer manage to stay one step ahead of the police for so long? Well, his name was Samuel Little, and he was a very smart man. In fact, he was so smart that he was considered a genius. He had an IQ of 120, which is higher than the average IQ. This meant that he was smarter than the average person, and that made him perfect for being a serial killer. In addition to his high IQs, Samuel Little was also a Vietnam War veteran. He had served in the U.S. Marine Corps and had seen some really horrible things. This made him even more dangerous because it made him more likely to commit violent acts. Despite being a genius, Little was not very successful outside of killing people. He was actually quite poor at the time of his arrest. He had less than $1,000 in his bank account. He also had a very low education level. He only had a 5th grade education. Despite this, he was able to get by because he was very smart. Little was eventually caught because he got cocky. After killing his 13th victim, he started to feel like a big shot. He started to brag about his crimes to people and even taunted the police. This is what eventually led to his downfall. In 2012, Little was convicted of the murders of 2 women in Los Angeles. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Since then, he has confessed to many other murders, but he has not yet been charged with them. So what was Little's motive for killing all these women? Well, that is still unknown. He was a very private person and didn't talk much about himself. Even in court, he refused to speak. This means that we may never know what went on in his mind. One thing is for sure, though, Samuel Little was one of the most evil serial killers in history. He was a cold-blooded murderer who showed no remorse for his victims. He is currently serving life in prison and will never be released. This is where he will spend the rest of his life thinking about all the horrible things he has done. Now tell us in the comments, what do you think the motive of this serial killer was? We want to hear your opinion. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more interesting content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.